Hi, everyone. So welcome to the webinar with Well on automation and the future of community pharmacy. And through this webinar, it's just really to sort of overlaps with the theme of our competition, which is also about like automation. And it's such a big topic that we thought it's not only worth a competition, but also a webinar to really discover how community pharmacy is changing, with like dispensing and automation. I know Natalie is going to explain more about it in this webinar, and also to show how, Well is one of the community pharmacy chains that's really progressing through how, we view community pharmacy when it comes to this topic. So I'll leave it to Natalie. Would you like me to share the screen?
Yes, please, that would be great, if you wouldn't mind. And then I'll just do my best Chris Whitty impression and ask you to go to the next slide each time.
Amazing.
Thank you very much, Saz. Hi, everyone, and thank you for joining me today to share more about how we are implementing technology into our pharmacies to support our patients and also our pharmacy teams as well. I hope this will be useful for those of you who are entering into our essay writing competition, which I know is available on the BPSA website. I think there's still a couple of weeks left to enter. And that competition is all around about how technology is shaping the future of pharmacy as well. Next slide, please, Soz. So just to share a little bit about myself, my name's Natalie O'Rourke. I've been with Well for just over 3 years now. And in that short 3 years, I've seen a lot of really positive changes in pharmacy during that time. I'm currently looking after all things foundation trainee pharmacists, having previously recruited permanent pharmacists for our pharmacies across Wales and the south of the UK. And I've worked in recruitment for just under 10 years. And that's been in a variety of different sectors, but the last 3 years being in pharmacy. So next slide, please. So I just wanted to share this quote from our operations director, Lewis Purchase, who is also a pharmacist himself, and he understands the challenges that our teams are facing in the ever-changing world of pharmacy. We are excited about the future and are working together to create an exciting, dynamic, and happy place for professionals to work. For us to continue to be successful while adapting to the changing needs of our patients and the NHS, our pharmacists are absolutely key. So that's just some words from Lewis there. You may have seen Lewis in the Chemist and Druggist articles, and he is very active on LinkedIn as well, so feel free to connect with him on there as well. Next slide, please. So this is just a brief intro into what I'll be sharing with you over the next few minutes or so. Please feel free to ask any questions at the end and I will do my very best to answer them. If I don't know the answer, I'm by no means an expert on what we're going to go through just now, but if I don't know the answer, I will definitely find someone who does. So I'll be introducing you to the HSC, our Healthcare Service Centre, just touching a little bit on innovation there. Talking more about our central fulfillment, our digital pharmacy, and then I'll round off the conversation with just some information about the opportunities that we've got at the moment for students and trainee pharmacists as well. Next slide, please. So firstly, like I said, I just want to introduce you to our Healthcare Service Centre, or HSC, as we affectionately refer it to it. This is a centralised function that operates out of our warehouses in Stoke-on-Trent, and it plays a key role in all of our future plans as well. So next slide, please. So the service centre was built in 2009 and it is roughly about 200,000 square foot facility that currently employs just over 650 colleagues and operates 22 hours a day, 6 days a week. We not only distribute from our own 750 pharmacies, but also we have over 3,000 external independent customers that we supply to, and we operate out of the HSC as well. Within the warehouse, there are the following business units. So we have Well Pharmacy, we have Bestway MedHub, which is our B2B sales function, Wardles, which is medical equipment, dressings, etc., and our digital pharmacy, and also our central fulfillment operations, both of which I will touch on later on in this webinar. Okay, next slide, please. So there's also a large number of colleagues who are all involved in the making of the HSC to operate efficiently. And without each and every one of these teams, we would not have been able to provide the vital services that we do to our thousands of patients. Particularly over the last 2 years during the pandemic, we've had to face into exactly the same challenges that the rest of the UK and the world have been facing into, and put the necessary measures in place to protect our teams and also to make sure that we could still operate safely and provide all of those services to those who need it most. So each and every single one of these teams play a massive role in the HSC and making sure that it can function and continue to support everyone that it does. Next slide, please. So this, hopefully it should work. It's a short video taking you on a whistle-stop tour of the HSC so you can see some of the tech in action. There you go, that was a very whistle-stop tour through, but I will be sharing a couple of other videos later on as well, so hopefully that played okay for you there. So we've already implemented a number of new technologies and we're constantly looking to the future on how we continue to innovate as well, and the plans that we have for the future. So if I could just ask you for the next slide, please, Saz. Okay, so this is just to share some words about our plans from our innovation program manager, Janssen Woodall, who's been with Well for just over 7 years now. And this is just some of the shared some of the information that we've got there as well. So we'll be using technology to support the delivery of pharmacy services and capacity savings through innovation. It will enable efficiency, cost savings, and growth across the business by innovation and automation. We will continue to build relationships with NHS Digital to facilitate more efficient ways of working across all care settings and open up more opportunities for the future. We need to be forward thinking to ensure that the technology is ready for new services and to be able to integrate patient pathways to make communication smoother across care. Whilst planning for the future, we need to also look at our current processes and how these can be more efficient and provide better outcomes. And it's also our responsibility to inform, educate, and influence across all external bodies, including NHS and various bodies like that. Next slide, please. So the next few slides will be about our central fulfillment operations, like I said, based at our HSC at Mere Park and Stoke-on-Trent. Next slide, please. So Mere Park Pharmacy, is it a warehouse or is it a pharmacy? Well, it is technically, in fact, both. Next slide, please. So Mere Park Pharmacy is our registered premises based within the distribution centre. The whole warehouse is about 300,000 square feet in size, which is roughly about 7 football pitches. So that's just to give you an idea of the kind of scale and size of the operation down there. Outside the GPHC registered premises, the warehouse is subject to strict medicines and healthcare products regulatory agency regulations. And we also have an on-site responsible pharmacist in the pharmacy area, and in the MHRA registered area, we have a responsible person who I believe isn't required to be a pharmacist to keep up regulations. Our 2 main activities that we have operating out of Mere Park is our online pharmacy, so Well Digital, and our hub and spoke operation, or central fulfillment, as you'll hear us refer to it. And this is for the entire Well estate. We have strict protocol in here because obviously of all the regulations, and only authorised personnel are allowed onto the site. Next slide, please. So this is just a diagram on how the central fulfillment operation is managed. You have the central fulfillment operations manager overseeing the process, with the shift manager, team leaders and pharmacists reporting into them. And there are then 160 central fulfillment operatives supporting this process as well. Next slide, please. So this is just a bit more detail around the breakdown of the operations. There are 2 dispensary shifts, one in the morning and one in the night, in order to meet the demand and make sure that all of our pharmacies are supported. We make sure that there's a clear handover between the shift managers, and this allows for continuity between the shifts, and it ensures smooth operations. We have dedicated pharmacists to complete the quality assurance checks, update base data and provide professional support. We ensure that all of our teams, they're fully trained, and this training is regularly reviewed. We make sure that they're receiving the most up-to-date training, and we have trainers in each team to continually support and coach employees to support their performance as well. Next slide, please. So this is just another short video of some of the behind the scenes of the central fulfillment operations. That's great, and hopefully that gives you an idea of some of the numbers that are dealt with at the Central Fulfillment Centre, and you can see a little bit more of the technology in action there as well. So as with any technology that's introduced to support our pharmacies, patient safety has to be our absolute #1 priority. We implemented the PSL analyst system as a complete solution that could be integrated with our automation that was already within Mere Park Pharmacy. It has steps already built into the system to make sure patient safety isn't compromised, because like I said, that needs to be the main focus of everything that we do. All new items or items identified as requiring clinical assessment are subject to a check before being sent to Central Fulfill. And the responsible pharmacist in branch is responsible for the clinical assessment and accuracy of whatever is submitted to Central Fill, as an accuracy check is done at Central Fill of the dispensed items against the prescriptions. Next slide, please. In the branch, before they send the items to Central Fill, it needs to have the responsible pharmacist's approval, and they retain professional responsibility throughout the entire process. There are some medicines that naturally can't be processed through Central Fill and need to be done locally. For example, Schedule 2 controlled drugs, fridge lines, and any medication that requires therapy check. Another element of patient safety that's introduced is barcode recognition of productions within of products within the production line, and that also adds, like I said, another level of safety as well. As an ongoing validation and quality assurance check, 25 bags an hour are randomly selected, and they are then checked to make sure that there aren't any issues with the technology, and any deviation from the accepted error rate will trigger an alarm, and that will automatically stop the production as well. Next slide, please. So in this video, you'll meet Andrea, who will share with you a walkthrough of how the process works in action.
Hello, welcome to Park Pharmacy. I'm Andrea. I'm one of the team managers here at Central Fulfilment, and today I'm going to walk you through the process of how your script gets processed here at the HSC. First off, it'll come to us here, and we send it off to be processed with a pick. So as you can see, this is the automated stage of the pick. This is where your products will be dropped into a tote, ready for the next stage. So once your items have been picked, it travels around the warehouse and arrives to us at inbound. This is the auto sorter. This is where items previously picked will now be put through the sorter. They'll be placed on hoppers where the barcodes get scanned, dropped into bins, ready for the individual prescriptions. Okay, this is the labelling process. This is where each basket gets scanned. It will then produce the bag label. We scan each item. It will then produce the dispensing label, gets placed into the bag, and the prescription is complete. So once it comes down the conveyor belt, it'll fall into this tub. We then take it to the company sorter. We scan each bag, which then sends it to the correct crating area. It then gets scanned again, where it'll be sent to the correct tote for the correct branch. Once it's come through the crating area, it will then work its way through the warehouse and arrive here in dispatch, ready to come to your branch. You will know it's from Central Fulfilment, as it will have the black band on.
So I hope that added a little bit more structure to how it works and how you can see it in action really there as well. So I just want to take a couple of minutes to talk about our digital pharmacy, which was launched in 2018, I believe it was, and that's also based in our also based at our HSC as well. So next slide, please. Here is a picture of inside the pharmacy. As you can see, it's probably quite unlike any pharmacy that you've seen before, and it is situated right in amongst all of our operations down at Mere Park as well. Next slide, please. So distance selling pharmacies are pharmacies that are essentially not based on the high street. They don't have a bricks and mortar kind of element to them. They currently make up over 1 million customers as patients start to look for more convenient ways to get their prescriptions. They receive the same remunerations as the bricks and mortar pharmacies. Prescription costs are the same. And in part of Well Pharmacy, part of our digital pharmacy, the prescription is delivered free of charge to the patient, regardless of the size of the script. So that's all sent out through Royal Mail, and it's delivered directly to the patient in their home. We have also introduced the option for them to collect it in the pharmacy, which I'll touch on in a moment as well. Next slide, please. So the way that it works is very simple. Patients sign up to us via our app or our website, and they place their request. We then nominate the patient to our pharmacy and send the request to the GP for them to then send us the prescription, which is ideally via the EPS system. And then the patient will receive a notification to pay for their prescription or upload their exemption certificate. And then they're given the option, as I mentioned, to have it posted to their home via Royal Mail or from their chosen well pharmacy if they would prefer to have a conversation with the pharmacist. All of this is giving the patient the option of how they want to receive their medication as well. So that's part of our innovation. We want to be where the patients need us, however they need us. Next slide, please. So just to mention about fridge lines, obviously, because they are a key part of pharmacy as well. We send the fridge lines out using special packaging. So it doesn't break the cold chain for up to 72 hours. And that consists of several ice packs and blockers and the special wool material. They're then dispatched on priority 24-hour delivery service. So they get to the patient within 72 hours, so the cold chain isn't broken. And we confirm with the patient when they will be in to accept the delivery of their order. So another patient safety element, you have to be available to collect this delivery. It can't be left with a neighbour or in a special location, obviously due to the medication. And this is another reason as to why we've introduced this option for click and collect for patients, because sometimes, particularly with us all going back into the offices and things now, it's not always possible for us to be in to collect that delivery. Next slide, please. So what's the secret to being successful in the distance selling pharmacy world? Well, as with everything, and as I've mentioned previously in all of our technology, first and foremost, we need to make sure it's safe for the patient, patients that we help, and they're not being impacted in any way. Clear leadership and productivity will lead to efficiency and our ability to automate and advance technologies. And all of these will ensure that patients continuously come and use our pharmacies, and it will ensure customer retention and satisfaction as well, making sure that they get the best possible service. Next slide, please. So this is just very much the beginning of our journey. We've implemented a lot, but as with everything, there is always room to go forward, and there's untapped potential in how we can develop for the future as well. Next slide, please. We're looking at ways to enhance the customer experience. So like I mentioned, we've launched our click and collect service. We're working with the online platform Push Doctor to provide online consultations and other prescriptions. And we're looking into ways we can expand on our services and our OTC offering for patients as well. Next slide, please. So here are some of the services that we currently offer. And then in line with everything going forward, we will be looking to expand on this as well. We've offered different vaccination centres and things like that as well. Okay. Next slide, please. Thank you. You're ahead of the game now, Soz. Thank you. So I just want to share some information as well about our customer service operations, because they're really key in ensuring that our patients have a great experience with us. And like I said, it goes back to that patient retention and making sure that they keep coming back to us as well. Next slide, please. So like I mentioned, key to customer retention, and I've shared some of their responsibilities below. On average, they will deal with about 4,000 customer contacts per week and triage all of these contacts and deal with the queries. They'll triage them for the pharmacists, and they'll deal with a lot of the issues directly with the patients as well. So they do a fantastic job of making sure that everything runs smoothly and all of our patients get all of the contact they need and all of their issues resolved in a timely manner as well. So that's everything on the webinar. I just wanted to take this opportunity just to share some opportunities that we have at the moment, because I know that some of you will be starting to think about your plans for the future and what other kind of thing it is that you're looking for after you've completed your studies, or if you've completed your studies and you're starting to think about newly qualified roles, just to mention a few things on that. So next slide, please. Just to mention about our Foundation Pharmacist program, we do host our own program in-house, and it's all written and maintained by our team of dedicated trainers for our foundation trainees. So it runs over the 52 weeks that you would have for the GPHC guidelines, and these are just some of the insights into what it is that we offer you. As part of this course, you'll have 10 off-site training days with your dedicated trainers, and that will cover various different topics to get you ready for the GPHC exam. I think the last topic that they had was on eye care. Prior to that, it was on hypertension and various different things as well. It's a mixture of online and face-to-face, and it really gives you a chance to get to know your peer group as well. So there's just a few insights into the course there. Next slide, please. So these are the kind of people that we're looking to join WELL, those with a willingness to learn, commitment, team player, a dedication to your future progression, and a real passion for community pharmacy as well. Next slide, please. This is just a note about our 6-week paid summer placement, which we are now accepting applications for. Applications opened at the beginning of January and will run through till the end of March. Reason for this is that we know that a number of you will have exams during this time of year. So we want to give everyone the opportunity to make sure that they can submit an application. One thing to note with that, it doesn't have to be where you're based at university. So for instance, if you are based down in Stoke for university, but you're actually going back to Manchester for the summer holidays, let us know and we can look at opportunities for you in Manchester if that's the best one for you. It's fully paid, so you'll be working in the pharmacy alongside the pharmacy teams and get some real hands-on experience. We also provide you with a student handbook, and then you can work through to give it a bit of structure so you can get as much out of the placement as possible. So last slide, I think. Oh, sorry, yeah. So here's just some feedback from those who have previously done their summer placement with us. Amani joined us prior to doing her overseas, the OSPAP course, and Henry and Alice both joined us during their time at university on various different years. It's open to first, second and third years, and any third years that join the summer placement course will be given the opportunity to interview for our foundation program. That is currently only in England, as all of the recruitment for foundation training in Scotland and Wales obviously goes through the Oriel systems. But if you're in England, you are able to interview for our foundation program, so you wouldn't need to go through the Oriel process if you wanted to join us. And then I think the last slide is just some information on where you can apply. So if you head to well.co.uk/jobs, you'll see our summer placement opportunities there as well. Like I said, there's 2 possible start dates. So you can start in June or you can start in August. And if you have any questions at all, graduate recruitment at well.co.uk is where you need to be. I hope that's answered a couple of questions for people in the chat there looking for some guidance on where to apply. All applications do need to go through our careers website. Okay. And that's everything from me. I think there's been a couple of questions in the inbox.
Yeah, Natalie, thank you so much for the presentation. I think from my personal perspective, it really did open my eye, even though I am going into community pharmacy going into next year, but you always have that traditional sense of, oh, it's just the pharmacist putting your prescription together, all done manually, and then they give it to you, and then you don't realize.
Absolutely. And all of this central fulfillment, when you see it actually in action, you do actually get to see the impact that it has on the pharmacy teams, because ultimately, if you're in a pharmacy, you can direct a lot of your prescriptions through to central fulfillment, and that will do it, freeing up your time as a pharmacist to concentrate on other services and other ways that we can help patients. So it is amazing, and I've been down to the HSC and seen it in action, and it's unreal how it's automated and everything like that. And I know that the concerns that people have is ultimately around patient safety, but this is all how it's built in to make sure that that's at the forefront of it. And it really is amazing.
Yeah, no, definitely. I think even just because I know like in the pharmacy world, there has been concerns over like Amazon and like how there's like these online, but then you see, you know, community pharmacies like, well, just really keeping up with the times and having like, you know, having all these services that you could in a regular pharmacy, but having it online, having it way more efficient, just it kind of
Absolutely.
does blow your mind up to like how big
Absolutely.
the operation.
Yeah. And like I said, it has an impact both ways. So it has an impact on the pharmacy itself, but also on the patient as well, as the end user of all of this. But it's amazing to see it in operation. And I think it's going to be the start of lots of different changes in there as well. So I think we've had a few questions come through.
So which ones do you want to start with?
I'll start from the beginning. There might be a couple that I may need to take away, as like I said, I'm not by no means the expert on all of this when it comes to it. My remit is usually recruitment, so I may need to take a couple of these questions away and get some contact details for people, particularly with the first one. So how is patient confidentiality maintained during the labelling process? I will come back to you on that one. Because I'm not 100% sure. I've not actually been able to get close enough into that area of the HSC. Like I said, it's all authorised personnel and things like that only. So I'll come back to you on that question. What support is there for the responsible pharmacists taking for the clinical appropriateness of medicines? Do they have a team of pharmacy dispensers or assistants or other pharmacists? So I'm not sure if this refers just within the digital pharmacy or whether or not it's in the physical pharmacy as well. But both areas have a team of pharmacy assistants there as well. But ultimately, the clinical decisions would come down to the responsible pharmacist. But as with a normal pharmacy, in the digital pharmacy, we also have dispensers in there as well, ACTs, accuracy checking technicians, and people like that as well, to make sure that they're supported. So it is basically like a bricks and mortar pharmacy, the team that you would have at a bricks and mortar pharmacy, but inside a warehouse in that area. So I hope that answered that question. And the next one was about summer placements. So again, through the website, well.co.uk/jobs.
Oh, sorry, just to also add on to that. So the summer placement is also on the BPSA website. We do have a new subpage called External Opportunities. So if, let's say, you forget about the email, you forget the website, but you're like, I want to do my summer placement at Well, you can literally just go onto our subpage and you can just go on to the application.
Absolutely fantastic. And this just answers one of the other questions as well. If I'm a first year student, will there be any chance of finding some volunteering assistant opportunities to work at Well? So we have a number of pharmacy assistant opportunities. If you go to our website again, you may be able to find some in your area. We can, in some instances, accommodate part-time. We do also, if your university, we do link in with a number of universities that we host undergraduate placements with. So if your university, you know, if we link in with most of them. So if you are quite keen, perhaps mention it to your university, see if they already have anything in place. But also feel free to contact the pharmacist directly and see if you are able to go in. We are able to offer work experience to anyone who is studying pharmacy. So if you would like to get in contact with them, the local ones in your area, then I'm sure that's absolutely fine. Just having a quick. So apologies, my laptop is on the go slow.
Oh no, do you want me to read it out?
No, it's I've got it here. So another one of the questions was about special training for staff in terms of getting used to technological devices, especially in the context of COVID-19 pandemic. Yes, absolutely. So when we rolled this out, every team was given full training on how it would work, how the technology works, and it's now ingrained into our pharmacies. So it's been rolled out into all of our pharmacies now. But at the time, everyone received full training, and any changes that we implement into the pharmacy, everyone gets full training. We make sure, if that's through face-to-face learning, obviously through the pandemic, unfortunately, that's not necessarily been possible, to trying to make sure that the training is readily available so everyone's fully prepared for this as well. Also, each within Well Pharmacy, which you won't see with the independents perhaps, is we have a full field team of managers and area managers and things like that, and they're all there to support with that training as well. So I hope that answers that question. There's a couple of questions about our kind of plans for the next few years in terms of digital and automated pharmacy. I'm going to be really honest with you, I don't know the full answers to those ones, but I will get some information for you and definitely come back to you on that one. One of the questions is about the digital pharmacy. Is it still a growing sector, or do you think that it has reached as many people as it could have? I definitely think that it is an area, a growing area, as more people, like I said, start to see the differences and start to find, as people return back to work and things like that, it may be easier for them to get it via our digital pharmacy and things like that. It is a growing market, and it's definitely something that we're considering as well, as things grow.
I think also we forget like the impact of COVID that's
Absolutely.
really shifted all our perspective.
Absolutely.
Like currency, everything's just going way more digital because it's just making our lives easier and we're just so used to it.
Absolutely. Like you said, during COVID, whilst more people were isolating, obviously we saw things absolutely skyrocket, and everything like that as well. So it's been quite an eye-opener, I think, for everyone the last couple of years. And not only have we seen the importance of community pharmacy, but we've been seeing the importance of how community pharmacy needs to adapt and move forward to meet with all of these changes, because it's changed the world forever for COVID. So it's going to be a very interesting time, and I'm really excited for you all as new pharmacists to see all these advancements and be able to use them and have a real impact on these kind of technologies and ways to push forward as well. So I think it's a really exciting time for pharmacy, and I'm not just saying that from a Well point of view. I think as a general, we've seen the importance. I think just before COVID, there was something on, I think it was This Morning or something like that, and they said how pharmacists were seen as glorified doctors or wannabe doctors or something like that, and it was outrageous what they were saying. And literally, I think 2 weeks later, we went into lockdown, and then all of a sudden, everyone saw the importance of community pharmacy, and that just cemented the real need for it, and how we need to make sure that we are there for the patients, because we are more and more becoming their first stop shop before the GPs. And there's so much more that we can offer to support the GPs as well. A number of GP appointments can obviously have been dealt with at the pharmacy. So I think that's another thing to consider as well, that we've seen during the pandemic.
Yeah, I know,
as
definitely.
well.
I think we've obviously seen, especially in these, at least even this past previous month, we've seen the amount of pressure and reliance that's been on the community pharmacies all over the country.
Absolutely, yeah. It's very exciting times. But I think that's all the questions. I think the only other question was about where the webinar was available.
I think there are also some other questions in the Q&A box.
Interesting. I haven't seen that one.
Okay.
Here we go. I haven't seen this one.
So for the first one, no, unfortunately, there won't be a certificate for this event, but I think it's a very it was a very good session. You get to, they provided so much insight for anyone who wanted to apply for the competition, and there were so many opportunities stated.
Absolutely. And if anyone does have any other questions, feel free to drop them into the graduate recruitment. In terms of the slides, I can see if I can make something available for you. I know that there will be a recording of the session, so the slides will obviously be on there. And how can we prepare for the future and automation of community pharmacy as students? I would say attending things like this, absorbing yourselves into all of the information that you can possibly have, getting involved in different experiences. I would definitely recommend during your time, if you can get placements in as many different places as you can across the sectors, because then you can really see how that technology works in other areas, in other avenues, in other businesses, and that will really help, you know, bring you forward with that technology as well. And I know I would, you know, keep your eye on everything. If your one really good tool is actually LinkedIn, you can connect with different professionals if you're not already on there, and they share a lot of different posts and different information about the different things that they've seen. So it's a really good tool to see what's up and coming in everything as well. And another question about the essay competition. I think all the information for that's on the website, isn't it, Saz?
Yes.
Yeah.
I think our competitions coordinator is also here. She'll join us in like a minute or two. Oh, yeah, she'll be rejoining us in a minute. You can come back to that question once she's a panelist. You can go on to the other questions.
Yep. I think there was one other one that I might have already answered. Is there training available around this topic? Does WELL train their pharmacists for new technologies and technological services? Like I mentioned before, any changes that would be in our pharmacy, everyone would make sure that they had the training for it, so that they can make sure that it's implemented properly. They would then share it with their teams as well. And like I said, we would make sure that you had everything in order to for that to be successful in the pharmacy as well.
Yeah, thank you very much. And I think Insu is now here. Insu, if you'd like to answer the question on how the essay competition will be run.
Yeah, hi. So I'm the competition coordinator, and the competition this year is based on the automation technology that Natalie kindly presented to us about. And so the question will be, how can automation and technology improve patient healthcare in the future of community pharmacies? And if you go on our BPSA website, under competitions, there's a document with the detailed briefings of what the task and the assessment criteria is. So there's a really big prize for the winner as well. I really recommend you to take part in this because it's going to be really fun. It's different to what we kind of do in like pharmacy schools, because we don't really usually get to write some essays like this, and it's, you know, it can be like creative, but you know, taking on what you think about automation in technology is like excuse me, automation and technology is like, and what the current socioeconomic situations are involving pharmacy. And yeah, you can do you can put all the different aspects of this and put it into an essay. Yeah, and we'll be really glad to see what you've got.
That's great, thank you. Yes, and I'll keep an eye out for all of those submissions coming through. I think there are still a couple of weeks left on it. So
yeah, that's right.
Still plenty of time.
So the deadline is mid-February. Yeah, so there's some time left.
Perfect.
All right, well, thank you very much, Insu. And I think, like Insu said, it's like a great opportunity. You know, the winner gets a really nice prize. I mean, any prize is a good prize. It's also a great way to, you know, develop your writing skills. And also, if you win the competition, this is a great thing to add on to your CV, because it's not an easy thing to win, really. And I hope that with this webinar, you get more ideas and more insights as to like what the competition is all about, but also I think also just in general to show you of like the future of community pharmacy and how we're sort of redirecting ourselves.
Absolutely. Thank you ever so much for having me this evening.
No, thank you so much for the
Thank you so much,
presentation.
Natalie.
Not a problem. And like I said, if anyone does have any questions, if there are any there that I haven't been able to answer, like I said, apologies, not the expert on this, but please do feel free to drop us an email at graduaterecruitment@well.co.uk. And just want to wish everyone the best of luck if you've got exams on at the moment, and the best of luck with your studies. And please feel free to reach out if you've got anything that I can answer. Okay.
And sorry. And also, if you've got questions about the competition, you can always email me, competitions@bpsa.com.
Yeah, thank you very much, Insu. And if you forgot about the competition coordinator's email or the email she just said, you can just go onto our website and her email is right there. And you can also find Natalie's email, the graduate recruitment email, in our external opportunities page. If you have any questions or any queries, feel free to drop them by. And thank you again, Natalie, for this.
No
session.
problem. Thank you so much for having me. Enjoy the rest of your evening, everyone. And hopefully I'll speak to you in the future. Take care.
All right,
Take
bye.
care.
Bye.
Bye.